Why do people keep trying to open the same failing businesses? I live in a small city and I have noticed this trend. People will try to open the same types of businesses and they almost always fail in a short time. Cycling studios, small bakeries, dog groomers, etc. I can't believe that other people don't notice this as well. What causes people to open a business that has failed a million times? Thanks for reading. Yeah, I'll definitely be successful at scaling this side hustle when my overhead costs from a brick and mortar location are 4x what my costs were before. They don't understand numbers. And they don't understand that the market is always right. Because people think they will succeed if they do what they love. Either they get tired of it and realize it's not what they love, or they simply don't do any market research. There was a person just the other day posting on this sub wanting to open a yoga studio. The general tenor of the responses was don't do it. She didn't really seem to care and said the typical there's no one in town and such a demand for it. People want to do the fun things. Maybe their spouse already makes great money and it's more of a passion project to keep them occupied. In Phoenix, dog groomers are booked out months. Doggy daycares are packed too. Could very well be regional changes in demand. However, most people are not fit to run a business and, therefore, it could just be ineptitude. One mistake people make is thinking their business idea will succeed if there is no competition. But that's often because many have tried and failed before. However, many businesses fail because most people don't know what they are doing. Bakeries are obviously a business that works pretty much everywhere. 2 words. Passion and resilience. X200B. And a hard-to-swallow pill. Just because you have a passion for it, it doesn't mean it fulfills a need for someone else. Or that you know how to make people feel about that need. Because they follow the do what you love advice. It often leads to failure. Do what markets demands. Fill the gap. Provide value. There's a restaurant on a main road in my town. And it's been 10 different places in the last 25 years. They all close after a couple of years. Yet every next owner thinks they are different. We have to wait 2 months to see a dog groomer in our area. It's crazy. We found one that charges $90 and we tip her $50 to keep on her good side. I grew up in a small town of about 2,000 people and can think of no less than a dozen failed pizza joints. There was a dive bar that pretty much owned the rights to pizza and no one else could ever compete. I don't know what made them keep trying. They all fail until one doesn't. Also, businesses close for many reasons and not always because of failure. Many businesses are started by bored housewives who are relying on other sources of income. Sometimes partners. And the business is just a fun thing to do. Then they abandon it or it becomes successful and then the landlord triples the rent. Kills the business's profit and then tries to copy that business in that space. Sometimes husbands get tired of writing checks that keep the rent paid. They were likely trying to run lifestyle businesses instead of profitable businesses. I read this as why try to succeed where others have failed. Maybe they have a better baked good. Maybe they have foo money from corporate America and have always dreamed of being a baker. In Oklahoma, it's been retail medical marijuana stores. This is kind of a silly thought. Most businesses fail or close in 10 years. About 1 in 5 in their first 2 years. There's a lot of reasons this happens. Trend businesses, like escape rooms, are built to fall apart once PPL lose interest. Others just get oversaturated. Bad location, bad advertising, unprepared owner, etc., etc., etc. There's only so much you can account for when trying to figure out if a business will succeed. Heck, I watched a shop open up in a terrible location. with competition in ideal setups. Somehow, not only have they survived but thrived. Copycat mentality and shiny new object syndrome. Because some of the succeed? Bike shops, gun shops, paintball fields, bakeries, board games, cards, comics, art galleries, organic free trade, whatever. People have hobbies, and there is no local business that supports their hobby. So they decide to turn their hobby into a business. More often than not, they end up with a hobby they now despise and a failed business. Geez, it's a 2-month wait to get a groomer anywhere but PetSmart here in Seattle. I've owned 2 small businesses in fun industries. Profitable. Sold each to people who thought it would be great to make money while doing what you love every day. Nobody had a clue how hard day-to-day operations were, or how to stay on budget. Both businesses belly up within 2 years. I am a marketing consultant. I know how hard it is to get a business to go. My sister bought a tattoo shop, and when I asked her how she was going to be successful, she said, "Because I deserve it." She really thought that because it was her turn to be successful, God would provide. Sorry, but God is not a business plan. Low startup costs is the most likely answer. I have a theory that people like the idea of running a business, but don't actually enjoy running a business in practicality. Thus, you lose money and go out of business even on winners. Plus no business plan or research. Do what you love. You only live once. Even if it fails, you can at least say you tried and have no regret of not trying. Every city town has that street lined with boutique shops that come and go because they have no idea how to actually run a business. Being good at a craft is not the same as being good at business. Market research, pricing strategies, supply acquisitions, etc., etc. They just wave all that away and dive in. Those are businesses that have low or no barrier to entry, so they attract get-rich-quick types or people who can't work well with others. They think it's circumstances beyond their control. They're only trained to do one thing. OCD. They think they've changed the business plan enough to succeed. Fashion clothing. Nobody wants ya crap. Here in Australia, dog grooming isn't regulated, so anyone can pick up a pair of scissors and open a shop. I think people think it's an easy job sometimes, but it's absolutely not. Low barrier to entry coupled with businesses that are hobbies for the owners. Low barriers to entry combined with delusional optimism. Those businesses ain't bad, but the fact is rent is too high to open businesses like that. It should be done in your own apt or house small scale first before anything. Rent itself is 90 of the cost, 10 is wages, that's why they fail. Rent is too high, that's why Cree is failing, since everyone went bankrupt and vacancies through the roof. Because they're not the same businesses. There's a million failed restaurants in my area that started before and after I started mine. But mine does great. We all think that we're the exception. Maybe we are. Maybe we aren't. Many of these businesses are set up by wealthy relatives who want to keep someone out of trouble. Got a kid that can't hold down a job? Buy him a board games store. The average person isn't very smart. A lot of people don't understand business finances and are just opening their hobby shop. E.g., a friend of ours opened a bakery and didn't set aside money every month for taxes. When the tax man came, she shut down quick. You could say the same thing about literally any successful business in the world. Almost all of them opened after another similar business failed. So none of them should have opened?